I'm beginning to think that the anime industry just hates moms. Not all of them, of course, just the ones that are marked with one of the most unassuming death flags in all of anime history, because somehow, something about this classic anime mother hairstyle all but guarantees a visit from the Grim Reaper. So let's slow down a minute. What exactly is this anime mom haircut, and why is it so dangerous? Well, you've definitely seen it, even if you've never really stopped to think about it. When anime wants you to know that a character is gentle, nurturing, and kind, it tends to give them this hairstyle. You can tell by the side-swept hair, usually around shoulder length. Sometimes it's braided off to the side, sometimes there's a ribbon or a bow, but overall the vibes remain the same. Characters with this hairstyle almost always embody exactly what you'd expect from a motherly figure, someone who takes care of others, supports them quietly, and exists as a sort of emotional stability for characters that the story deems more important. Unfortunately, while they embody safety, the world around them rarely agrees, meaning that one way or another, they end up with a first-class ticket to the Shadow Realm. So why is it that this hairstyle is so dangerous? Well, to be real, it has very little to do with the hairstyle itself, and more to do with what it represents. To understand that, we need to dive just a bit deeper into how character design drives a story's narrative. Think about a character whose hair has sharp angles. It gives them that classic spiky anime silhouette, or maybe they've got a high ponytail. Either way, you can probably imagine in your head this is some kind of character who comes across more sporty and active, someone who feels more than capable of handling it themselves. That's the exact opposite of what we're talking about. When a character like that dies, sure, it tells you the world's dangerous, but it doesn't hit the same way as losing the one person who made it feel safe does. Taking out a motherly figure is an incredibly effective narrative tool for a few key reasons. First of all, it's efficient. Almost everyone watching can immediately understand what's been lost. Secondly, it completely reframes the universe of the story. A place that can kill the very representation of harmony is no longer safe for anyone. And finally, it just hurts. That loss is often what pushes the protagonist to grow, rebuild, or rebalance the world that's just been thrown into chaos. And once you start thinking about it in this manner, it really becomes impossible to ignore, and the second you see someone with this hairstyle, you are immediately on guard. One of the most famous examples of this has to be Fullmetal Alchemist. The entire driving force of the show is that two boys, stricken with grief by the death of their mother, attempted a forbidden method to return her to the world of the living, only for them to reap devastating consequences. That single act sends them on a journey of growth, guilt, and self-reflection, all in an effort to fix what they had broken.
People don't come back from the dead, Rose. Not ever. Not ever.
And when we finally get to see Trisha in flashbacks, the visual language is already there. She's a calm, nurturing, gentle character, and right there atop her head, the death flag hairstyle front and center, quietly marking her fate long before the story ever began. But this is merely a flashback, and one example doesn't prove anything, so let's look at a case that's not quite as obvious at first. In Oshinoko, Hoshino Ai doesn't start out as anything resembling a typical anime mom. In fact, she's not a mother at all yet. She's an emotionally distant idol that struggles to understand what love actually is.
Lies are the most exquisite kind of love.
Treating it more as something like to be performed rather than felt. But once she has children, that starts to change. We watch a shift in real time. That distant persona that she has softens into something a bit more genuine. She stops guessing at what love is and begins to actually understand it. And as that happens, her design changes along with her. She becomes visibly softer, more open, more real. And eventually she starts to adopt the same visual language that we've been talking about this entire time. Looking back, it's almost cruel how clearly it was foreshadowed, because once Hoshino Ai fully becomes that caring, protective presence, the story takes her away. It was a death that shocked millions when the anime first aired, but in hindsight, the warning signs were there the entire time. You just might not have known to look for them yet. Now, obviously, this isn't a hard, fast rule. Every trope has its exceptions, And I don't even have to look very far to find one because it's been staring me in the face this entire time in Ranma 1/2, my favorite anime. Akane's older sister Kasumi Tendo fits here unbelievably well. Let's check the list. She's motherly, check. Gentle, absolutely check. Sideswept hair, often braided, check. Warm, nurturing presence that keeps the household together, huge check. And yet, Kasumi doesn't die. The reason she doesn't is exactly why she makes such a strong exception to the rule. Kasumi's death would be pointless in a series like this. The girls have already lost their mother, and if anything was ever going to drive them forward, it would have been that moment. And while Ranma 1/2 has its serious beats, it's a comedy first and foremost, and it never takes things far enough for death to ever be on the table. Characters get injured, sure, but they're never completely removed. Kasumi is never framed as a fragile symbol of peace that exists only to be taken away. Instead, she functions more as a constant, someone whose presence drives the story through contrast rather than loss. So even though she looks doomed from the start, the genre itself is protecting her. I mean, at this point it's pretty clear, none of this is accidental. Anime creators know that the trope has been noticed, and they intend to keep using it anyway, because it still works. The second that Hairstyle shows up, you already know how you're supposed to feel about that character. You know what role they're going to play, and how much it's going to hurt if they're taken away from the story. And honestly, that kind of visual shorthand isn't even unique to anime. Stories do this everywhere: soft lighting, warm spaces, gentle designs. It's all just a way of telling you this is what safety looks like. And once a creator knows that the audience understands that language, they can do a lot with it. They don't have to spell everything out with long-winded explanations. Sometimes they'll play it straight, other times they'll use it to mess with you. And sometimes they include it purely because they know it'll make you feel uneasy the moment that they see it. When anime moms die, it's rarely because the story hates them. Rather, it's because the story needs the audience to feel loss immediately, without explanation. And sometimes all it takes is a hairstyle to tell you exactly what's coming. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. Genuinely, it means a lot. Let me know in the comment who your favorite doomed mother is and what trope you want me to tackle next. As for me, I might be cutting my hair a bit shorter, just in case. See you next time. Bye-bye.